Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We're marching on, and we're getting pretty close. Now we're going to be almost painting pretty soon. The Lazuli Bunting has been burnt, textured, and the eyes set. The beak has been super glued so that we can get a bony look and everything else. Now, I'm going to give you some information about how to seal the products as far as your carvings go. We're going to show you how to seal it and then prime it. And I'm going to try to give you that all in one. Okay, that should go fairly fast here in that respect. And I'm going to give you some ideas on what to use and so on. I have used for eons here as far as my carvings as I went along. I use a Krylon spray. I'm going to show you this one. This is the Krylon spray. This is it's clear, and it goes on, and what it is, I usually take the lid off. Let's see if I can do this. Sure. Doesn't work. There we go. You have a sprayer here, and what I do is I usually hold the bird maybe about 6 inches away, and I do it outside. Let me tell you that too. This is like a lacquer that has a real strong smell to it and so stuff like that. Okay, so anytime you're doing anything like with a sealer or something, it's smart to do it outside because then it penetrates into the house and what have you. So try to do it outside. You spray it, and this is what I do. I hold it about 6 inches away. I hold the tail, spray it, and then before I get done, I spray the tail completely. Even though it's wet, I handle it, and then I sit it down. But you don't want to put it near plastic, and you want to put it like on a piece of wood or something. Let it just sit there and dry, and give it maybe a good half hour to really set up, okay? And I want to try to get you to at least do that much as far as the sealer. Now, what this Krylon spray, I'm going to give you a little history here. This is the one I use. It's a Krylon spray. It's clear, and I use it as a sealer. That's not saying that Krylon calls it that, but this is what happens. I've been using this for forever, and if you get a lot of older books on carvings and stuff like that, you'll see that it's called, the number that Krylon used in the beginning was 1301. That was the Krylon spray that we used religiously. And what it does when you spray it, first thing, I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit here. I have in my ram grinder here, I run this at half speed, and this is a horsehair brush. Okay, you don't want to use any metal or anything like that. And I want you to dust the whole thing out. Just run this through, and you'll see the dust will come out. And once you get it all out, then you're going to spray it, okay? You will hold the container about 6 inches, 8 inches away, and spray the whole thing, like I said. Then you want to let it dry for at least a half hour. That's what I like to do. Sometimes I even go a little longer just to make sure that it's where it should be. And I'm not playing around worrying about it dry. It dries pretty fast anyway, but I give it a little extra time. Now, the Krylon spray that I liked has, the formula, I believe, has changed, okay? Krylon has changed the number on this, because the number on this one now is 51301. They put a 5 in front of it. Now, I've spoken to Krylon, and for the life of me, I can't find the number of the new one that they came out with, but you may want to try that. That's, if you get a hold of Krylon, you can find out if there's something that is very close to the 51301 or the formula for the 1301, and I swear by that. Now, what that does, when I spray it and it dries, the color will change. This will get a little like a tan color compared to, let's see if I can, here's one that wasn't sprayed. This is a little tanner when you spray it. What it does, it soaks into the pores of the bird, because when we use acrylic paint, you mix it with water and we stir it up, and when you put water on wood, it wants to swell sometimes. So to alleviate that, we seal it. That's one of the first things we do as far as getting things primed, and sealed and so on. That is the first thing. Now, I would say I like this, and if it's available to you somewhere that you can get a hold of it, that's great. I'm going to give you other choices that I have here that other people have used. Now, there's a KT sealer, which is another one that is out there, and a lot of people like that one as well, okay? So it's called KT sealer. That's another one, and I don't know exactly how they perform per se, but I've been getting some feedback from different carvers, and they say that works out pretty good. Depth is also another one. It's a good sealer too that a lot of people have recommended. So I'm passing that on to you. But I'm in the Krylon area, and I've got enough of this that I've been still using it forever, Now, I'm going to give you some other information, and I'm going to give you my opinion, but that doesn't mean you don't use it. Gesso is a medium for sealing. A lot of times when you're preparing canvases, you put gesso on, and that gets the canvas more smoother and everything else. And what we used to do years ago is we watered down the gesso, because it's a real heavy medium. The particulates in it are really heavy, and it will fill your voids, your detail. So I shied away from it early in the game. I really did. And it's white, and so it's doing a priming and a sealing at the same time. There are a lot of carvers that like gesso, and I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I used to water it down so it wouldn't build up as fast, and I don't put any of this heavy on. When you see what I use for sealing, for priming it white, you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't want to get it real heavy, so I try to water down the paint that I'm going to show you in a minute here. But the depth, the TK sealer, and the gesso, I would definitely water down. I don't prefer that, but if that's all you have, I would water it down, because It's very, it fills your voids, and I don't like it, but some people love it. You know, even top carvers love it. So it's how I'm using it compared to how they're doing it. I don't know, but I'm just trying to give you what works for me. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to bring the camera down so you can see how I approach this as far as the sealing and then the priming. Okay, we primed this already. I did this before I started the video, so this has been all sprayed and everything else and dried. So I will bring the camera down and then we'll start priming it, okay, before we paint. So I'm going to give you that, but there's a couple things we still need to do. So bear with me and we'll take you on the next stage. Okay, here we go. What I'm going to show you here is I got like a, I don't know what this is, maybe a 150 or 120 sandpaper. And what I'm going to ask you to do, if you would, and I'm going to get my OptiVISORs on so I can see things better. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to sand the beak to get the gloss that gets formed on here and the glaze, so that this is the super glues on here, the sealers on here, and I'm trying to just get this so that when we go to paint, it sometimes doesn't want to take with the super glue on and with the, what's the name, the sealer on it, the Krylon spray. So I usually try to take the glaze off, okay, just a little bit, just like that, okay. Now I'm going to do things a little different than most people. My technique for sealing it is I'm going to use titanium white acrylic paint. Okay, this happens to be a Winsor Newton. Most of the time I use another brand, but any white, titanium white paint is great, will work for you. I'm going to get a tray, put a glob of, about maybe a pea size into the cup, and then what I'm going to do is get my bottle of water, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to fill that up about halfway. Now, I usually have a paper towel, and I get a brush, and this could be any kind of brush. I'm really just wanting to get this, I want this mixed real good, okay, in here. I don't want any globs or anything. I want this really blended, you know, so that you have all that paint mixed, okay? And when we don't want it so heavy that you lose. Sometimes when we do the burning and some of the pattern work we want to show through, we don't want to get it so white that you don't see that afterwards. So I usually go about a half a cup of water and a pea size of the titanium white. And the reason why I use titanium white, after I paint the whole bird, I could come back with my burning pen, and what I can do is I can come in with my burning pen and burn over the paint without it lifting. If I use gesso, you're going to get a white that pops up where you don't want it. And in the case of where I want to shadow a little bit or come back in and enhance some of the burning to make it look kind of neat, I do a lot of shadowing with my burning pen. This is after I paint it now, okay? And it's not now, this is after the fact that we have it painted. So that's one of the tricks I do. I can go back on top of that titanium white paint and actually burn over it, where gesso will lift the white and you can show it coming through, and you don't want that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my brush. Now, I hope I didn't make this too watery. I'm going to come in. Yeah, I think I did. Let me go back before we get rolling here. I'm going to take a little bit more. I said a pea size. I think I cheated a little bit. So I'm going to get a little more of the white. And it's really like a good pea, good size pea size. And we'll mix that in there. I thought I was just a little too watery. And been a while since I've been painting here, so. And I want this all mixed in. So you see where it's still globbing up onto the brush. I want to try to get the brush to really mix it good. Hopefully I got it now. Okay, this will come on a little stronger, and I'm going to start on the beak and get into all the nooks and crannies, right over the eye. I don't want to flood it as much as I want to move the paint. Okay, and I want to get a nice even coat. It's going to dry lighter anyway, because that's just the nature of how it goes, but that's fine. I don't mind giving it a second coat if I'm controlling. All this work that we did up in the head here with the burning techniques, I want that to show through a little bit. Okay, you're going to see more of a bluish color on this bird, of course, but I still want that shadowing to come through. So as you notice, I'm hoping it was in the camera range here. I could have drifted a little bit, but you're not missing too much. Right, I'm getting the paint. I may have gone out of camera a little bit. I think maybe I did, but I'm going to pull you back in. You didn't miss anything that I haven't been doing right now. I'm coming in and I'm trying to get the white in here a lot. You know what? I picked a brush that's a little chintzy on getting the paint on here, so let me get a bigger brush. I don't know why I got that one. Here's it'll have more body to it, so it'll, woo. Like, see, I found some paint that didn't mix, so I'm gonna get that mixed in there real good. Yeah, I want that. There you go. Now I'm gonna push this so that it's not piling up as real heavy paint on the bird. I'm really not trying to do that like I just did there. See that? Wow. So I'm going to grab a little water and I'm going to water that down. This is what I don't want you to do. It's okay in the breast area, but not in the detailed area here. So what I'm going to do is just keep on moving the paint, and it'll you don't want that blob. See that? Wow. I thought I had mixed really good. So I'm going to take the excess off, and I'm going to push what I have put on here. I'll get a little bit of water, which will water it down a little bit more, and then it'll be able to move it. I like to give it like 2 coats, but depending on the strength of the coat determines if I have to come back on it or what. So look at a little bit, and get this going here. The breast area is going to be like white for the moment anyway. So if that came on a little heavier in the breast area, that's fine. This area right here is not a problem, but it's where you have your burning that I'm trying to, boy, I thought I mixed that well, and I didn't. So, see what I mean? That's just too heavy. I'm just gonna rinse my brush, get a little more water, and I want, just trying to get you to see how I apply this. And then you're gonna see when I put a hairdryer to this, that it will lighten up. It really will. So bear with me. And now I come down here, and I'm doing the bottom of the rump. I'm going to try this and not get the whole tail going here, because I don't want to do finger painting, and that's what I'll end up doing if I try to paint the whole bird. My fingers will get paint on it, and I don't want to do that right at the moment. So I'm going to do this, and I got the paint on as about as even as I can get it, okay? So let me stop there. I'm going to rinse my brush out. Now, I'm going to shoot the dryer over that way so it doesn't come down onto the brush to dry the paint or in my paint tray, okay? So I'm going to come in here and get ready for the noise. Now, what I'm trying to do is, you'll see this lighten up a little bit as you go, and you'll see some of the ghosting of the feathering, especially in the head area. And I'm not worried about the wings too much. It's the coverts between the two wings and the mantle. That's the only ones that are going to be like a little showy. The rest of it is detailed enough that it's going to hold its own. Now, I'm going to stop this for a second. See how this has really gotten a lot right here. I'm going to move that. Hope you can see that. And I'm moving this. If I see any buildup, I'm just going to try to maneuver that. And then, let me try drying it again. See a spot that, I don't know if I missed it or what. Right in here. I'm going to hit that. I'll hit that. We'll leave it at that. Rinse my brush out, always, to try to not have the paint set into your brush. There we go. And as we dry it, you'll see that shadowing effect still coming through, giving you the detail of the face the head, and the mantle, and the back covert, okay? And I want to get this dry enough that I can handle this so that I can paint the tail now. And I think I'm dry enough that it's not coming off on my hands. So now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to paint the tail so we could get that done. And if you noticed, I try to go in one direction if I can get that done. Okay. And let me just come in here. Sometimes I use a little bit more water just to get it moving better. And thinning it out a little bit too. It's a little bit of both, but most of the time, I'll move this up a little bit now. Now I'll come back on this and give it almost like a second coat. I'm gonna come in here on the mantle, on the wings, feathers here. Get that going. I'm going to do that on the other side, right in here. Get the wings in here. So there is no differentiating of, I'll just water this down just to get that to blend out so that there's no hard edges. And we'll get that. Now, on the breast area, I will come in. I'm not going to do it up in the throat area, but I'm going to come in on the breast area. And it's going to look whiter as I'm coming just a little water. I'm going to pull that down. And I'll do a little bit on the underneath side here of the tail. Okay, so I'm at a pretty good spot right here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dry this now. Come in here. And wherever it seems like it's got a big buildup or I missed a spot and I'm seeing a little bit of both here, I'll just rinse my brush out. I see a spot that I think I need right in here because I want to try to get a consistent white right in here, out here. Okay. And I just put my finger on my breast area, which I didn't want to do, but that's okay. Just don't want to handle this wet that much, okay? I'll rinse my brush out and we'll go back. And what I'm talking about finger painting, say I got paint on my hands. There is another device I'll show you as well that I should have used, but I didn't. Now what I'm trying to do is when we get done, you will see this getting white, but I'm really in the breast area is really white, and I'll probably go back and hit the tail and the wings one more time. But the mantle and the head and the back coverts are sort of, you're making illusions of feathers. That's why we burned it the way we did. And what I mean by that is this area right in here, the head, you can see these are showing through. I'll probably water this a little bit down and come back and give this a coat. I'll coat the wing again. and this, but make sure it's dry so your hands isn't picking up the paint, okay? And the breast is pretty white. That's good. The tail could use a little bit more. So I'm just going to get a drop or two more of the water of what I have left here. And I'm going to come in here. And you can see it almost gets whiter than white. Okay, a little bit there. Then I'm going to come up here and right in the wing area here. Not the mantle, not the coverts, and not the head, just the wing. I'm going to come in and give that a coat right there. Then I'll get a little bit more, and I'll do this side, right in here. Just to give it one more coat right in the wing area. And then I'll get the last little bit, and we'll do the tail. And make sure you get the edges too, all the way around. Okay. And I'll get that right there. Okay. Let's see, we got a little bit more paint floating here. I'll put that in. Rinse my brush out, because you want to get all the paint out of there so it doesn't ruin your brushes. And I am going to hit this and dry it well. Now I see a little buildup, and I don't know if you see it, and that is right in here. So I'm just going to pick up a little of the paint and blend that out before it dries real to a hard spot. Okay, and everything looks like it's blended again. Okay, and then we'll dry it one more time. It doesn't take long to dry because we're not loading it up, and the hair dryer will get you there faster than you think. But you want to make sure that when you're handling this now, that you're not getting the paint on your hand, because your hand can act as a sponge, and you don't want that, okay? So the idea is we want to get this white in here, get all of this. You could say it's not totally, this is white in the breast area. This can stay a little shadowy like that. The wing can get white, and both sides. And if you notice, I don't have any paint on my fingers, so it is dry enough. This is ghosting through, which is great. And that's the way I want that primed. Now, the only thing I see that may have been is that it had a little bit more white, but that's okay. We can live with that on the beak here. And when we paint it, it'll cover it. I'm not worrying about the eye. I want you to paint right over the eye, okay? The eye will clean up by itself later. But this is now sealed and primed, and we used a titanium white. It could be any titanium white acrylic paint. And this will get you there. And you're mixing about a pea size to about half a cup of water. Mix that really good, because you could see I had some globs in there, and you don't want that. You want this to go on fairly even. And if it looks like it's going on real heavy, water it down, especially in the head area or the mantle area or this covert, back coverts here, okay? So that is now getting us set so that we could start the painting. Now, I want to show you one other device that is handy to have that you can get, or you can make it yourself. Okay. Hang on. Let me grab one. This is a starter screw set. Like it's basically like a screwdriver, except that it has a screw at the end. Okay, and for those who are painting and don't want to go finger painting, to put the bird where it belongs as far as the legs where they meet the body, it's halfway. It's between the beak and the tail. Okay, so about halfway would be right about in here. So if instead of going dead center, you go out maybe about 3/8, and you can screw this in, and that'll be where one of the legs should go right in. Now I'm going to screw this in, and I should have done this in the beginning, but I like to hold things. I don't know. It's my way of doing it. Now you can paint it free, and you don't have to worry about you're painting your fingers or getting paint all over and stuff like that. This is a handy thing. Stanley makes these, and you can get these at almost any hardware store. And they're like a starter for screws and stuff like that. So this is real handy. You can also get a dowel and glue in a screw to it and make one of these yourself too. Okay, so just want to show you, this is primed and sealed, and we're ready for painting. So on the next video, we should be in business. So I hope you got something out of this one. I gave you a list of the products I use for sealing, and the priming, I'm going to recommend the acrylic white paint. Okay, so if you follow me, I hope you enjoyed what you learned, and if you did, I'm going to ask you to give me a thumbs up. If you are interested in doing any of these, I have kits available. If you want to get my catalog, you can write to me through my email, which is Rauscher, R-A-U-S-C-H-E-R, Frank, F-R-A-N-K, 7 @gmail.com. And you can also find that in the body of the description of my video. And if you really like what we're doing here and you want to follow me, if you could subscribe, I'd appreciate it. It would really help me in my count on YouTube. So I really appreciate this, and I hope you're enjoying the videos as we go. So I'll see you on the next video, and we should be starting the painting pretty soon. We're on our way right now, okay? So I'll see you then. Bye now.